So I did want to talk briefly about this Benzino Shauna Brooks debacle that's been going on with them. So let's go ahead and get into it. I think that there is a little bit that to be discussed about it, and I think it's also an important topic. So let's talk about this.
It's Black Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
Well, good afternoon, loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as me. I did finally get my voice back a little bit. I mean, I've had a bad voice since Friday. I did have some real fun on Friday night. And I ended up losing my voice. My voice was going kind of crazy. So I've been trying to give it a little bit of a break. And I have been talking to you guys, but not as much, just so I can give my voice a break so it can get back to normal. It's still not completely back to normal, but just know that a sis had a great time. Okay. Awesome time on Friday night. Anyway, let's get into this Benzino situation with Shauna Brooks because I really wanted to discuss this a couple days ago. But I've been kind of watching the situation, kind of listening back and forth from both ends. I've heard a few people actually discussing it. And so this is the kind of the place that I've come to with this. I do think that both of them hold some accountability with this, okay? And I'm going to talk about a little bit about why. Now, let's start with Benzino. Now, a lot of men who are in this or find themselves in this predicament, okay, are generally come from a generation or a time when coming out and talking about transgender relationships and having relationships with people who are transgender or people of people of the same sex would be something that was completely frowned upon. It was something that may even cause you harm at one time, especially in the music industry and especially in the rap industry. And let's just keep it a bean. That's just something that has constantly been around. That's been around for a long time. It has now been a lot of things are coming out about it. People are talking about it more. There's more gay rappers now, and so forth and so on. But let's just face it, Benzino comes from a generation and a period of time where this was frowned upon. This was not something that was looked upon, that was a good thing. And like I said, he would have lost deals. There would have been all kinds of stuff that would have happened at that time. Would it have been right? No. But this is what they were facing, and this is exactly what was going on. I mean, we're not going to act like that's not true. So unfortunately, Benzino in this case, if this was true, and if this situation is true, I could see why he would hide something like that. Okay. And I could see why, he wouldn't come out because first of all, look at how people are reacting to it. Okay. If this is true, look at how people are coming at him. Look at how some people have been reacting, some of the things that have come out from other, people in the industry and stuff like that. He's gotten a lot of ridicule behind this. So clearly, if he had done this 15 or 20 years ago, imagine what the result would have been at that time. Okay. Way before certain laws were in place, way before, things, were in place to protect people from things like this. He would have lost a lot of money, and there would have been a lot of things that he would not have encountered. So I can understand why he would be quiet about it. But coming now to this situation, I think if this is true, I think he should hold some accountability in saying, you know what? Yes, this is factual about me. There's been several men since then who have come out and have been honest about their sexuality since that time. People who are shocked to hear some things. I'm not going to mention any names because it's not my place. But at the same time, there are people who have come out about their sexuality since that time era. And, they've been accepted. People have agreed to disagree. Some people have still disagreed, but people are comfortable in doing that. But it would be completely up to him if this would be something that he'd want to do. You see what I'm saying? Like he'd have to want to actually be discussing that. And that's another thing. That kind of leads me into Shauna Brooks with this situation. That's where I'm at with this. Okay. I don't understand why it is really important at this point to be discussing someone's sexuality unless it actually directly affects you. Now, what I mean by that is if I was in a personal relationship with Benzino as a woman, okay, or if I had children with Benzino and Benzino never shared with me, that these were things that were a possibility, that may be something that, yes, I would want to know. Okay. I think I would want to know that. And I think I have the right to know that. And I think I have the right to make a decision on whether I'd like to be in a relationship with someone, who is, who likes people of the same sex. I think I have that right. And I think that's where we get kind of mixed up with things, okay? Where, people don't have the right to decide whether they want to have that type of relationship, or they decide that they're not going to allow you to know, that this is what they want. I think there's a fine line there. And I absolutely believe that if you as a man decide that you want to be in a relationship with a woman, and you also like men, I think that should be something that you're disclosing. And I'm not saying that you have to disclose your whole life, you have to be held accountable forever. No, I'm not saying that. But when you get into a sexual relationship with someone, you have to be open about who you are and what you're doing. That's just that. The bottom line is, and people have the right to decide whether they want to be involved with you or not. That's what I mean about accountability on his part. On Shauna's part, the accountability for her is, it's hard for me to say not hold her accountable in this, because I feel like she was quite selfish in this situation. Okay. Now, she knew that she was involved with a man who did not want his that part of his life outed in the public. And he has the right to have that. He does not have to have that outed. That does not have to be everybody's personal business. Okay. And people's sexuality, like I said, should not be everybody else's business unless you are attempting to have a sexual relationship with that person. Then you should be more open about who you are. Other than that, it really doesn't matter who you slept with, or who you're sleeping with, or who you like, or what you're interested in. It really doesn't matter. So if you want inclusion, okay, let's talking to Shauna. When you're talking about inclusion, and when you're talking about exception, and people, accepting you as who you are, okay? It's pretty difficult for someone to understand that when in your mind, you outed this man and his sexuality to the world when that was not everybody's business. You understand what I'm saying? This is what kind of allows men, or festers the idea of hiding things, festers the idea of not coming out and not saying anything, because now we've got people who might actually just put my business out here. If you understand what I'm saying? Like, how wrong are you? It's like no one is holding you accountable for your part in this. I've heard a lot of people jumping on Benzino about his sexuality and about who he is as a person, if it's true. But I haven't heard many people holding Shauna accountable for her actions in this matter. Okay, it was not anybody's place to put his sexuality out there in the public, except him, if he chose to put it out in the public. And who knows, he very well have had a conversation with the mothers of his children. We don't know what they know. All we know is this woman put his personal information out to the public, and none of us are sleeping with him. So it doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if they were in a relationship, then her accountability comes with, well, you've been in a relationship with him all this time in the private, and you did it for a reason. So if it was okay then, why are you doing this now? See, you can't have both. You can't say, oh, I wanted to have this out because I'm tired of being private with him, but you were private all this time. Everybody else is private in the world. There's millions of people who are private with their relationships. You understand what I'm saying? Millions of people who never show who they're sleeping with. And majority of those people, are, it doesn't matter whether they're same sex or opposite sex or anything. They just purposely don't put their relationship out in the public because it's not anyone's business. So what I felt like you did, I don't feel like you did this because you were tired of being private and you were tired of everything, because if that was the case, you would have just left him alone and you would have moved on to somebody who wanted to be more public. But no, you outed him because you did that on purpose, because you used his sexuality against him as a weapon. And that, Miss Shauna, is what you need to be held accountable for. I'm sorry. You cannot use somebody's sexuality against them as a weapon, just like you cannot use somebody's race against them as a weapon. Just like nobody should be using you as a transgender against you as a weapon. How is it okay for you to use Benzino's sexuality against him as a weapon? Because that's exactly what you did. Now, you could say whatever you want to say about, oh, I wanted to, all of that is irrelevant, because at the end of the day, you were dealing with him. If it's true, you were dealing with him, not the world, not the public. And therefore, it was not the public's business. It was not our choice. It was not necessary for us to know about it. It just wasn't. You could have continued on to have a full-fledged relationship with him and nobody would have ever known. And the beauty of it is nobody would be bothering you or him. But you chose to out him, and you did it for a specific reason. And so because of that, you didn't have a righteous reason to do it. And yeah, the universe has a way of pulling stuff like that back on you. So have mercy on you for what may happen because of that. But all I have to say about this is think about things before you start putting people business out here. Because just because you may feel some type of way about something, or you may not like something that's happening in a situation, keep in mind how or what your part in it was. You understand what I'm saying? Like, where did you have a play in this? What did you do to in this situation that puts yourself in the situation that you're in? If you're feeling some type of way, about this, more than likely you had a lot to do with it, and you had a lot to do with why you're in the situation you're in. And so for that, I can't feel sorry for Shauna. For Benzino, I do, for two reasons. Number one, like I said, we don't know that man's personal business. We don't know whether or not he did tell the people he should have been talking about this with. We don't know whether that conversation happened, or we don't even know if this is even true. I've heard the audio. I've heard all of that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. But I'm saying that because it's not my goddamn business to know. I'm not sleeping with him. I don't give a fuck if he's gay. I don't care if he likes women. I don't care if he likes men. I don't care if he likes transgenders. I don't care. It doesn't matter, because he's not sleeping with me. You understand? That's the point. So again, the one that I hold the most accountable in this situation is Shauna. Because what was your intentions when you put that out there? Again, it was not because, trust me, it was not because you just wanted to out your relationship and you were just tired of being in the quiet, because you already knew that if this is true, you already knew he didn't want that in the public, and that would immediately remove you from his life. So that's not the case. No. That wasn't your intentions. Your intentions were, again, to use this man's sexuality against him as a weapon, whether it is true or whether it's not. And the crazy part is either one of them would be fucked up. Either one of them. And for that, I got to hold you accountable, man or sir. All right. Well, I'm going to end it here. I just had to say this, get that off my chest real quick. But you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will talk to you guys later. But yeah, do not use somebody's sexuality against them as a weapon. We do not have the right to do that, and that is not our concern. If that man is whatever sexuality he is, if you're not sleeping with him, it don't even matter, right? All right. Well, y'all have a great day, and thank you guys for tuning in. Peace, guys.